Welcome, everyone, to Class 3 of our Neurotherapy series. Today, we're going to dive deep into the very foundation of healing, the cell. Why? Well, it's pretty simple. To truly help the body heal, we first have to understand its most basic building block.
But let's kick things off with a real-world puzzle, one that many of you will definitely see in your practice. Picture this. A diabetic patient eats a full meal. Their blood sugar is through the roof, but they're still hungry. All the time. Why on earth does that happen? The answer is hiding at the microscopic level, and that's exactly where we're going today.
So to solve that puzzle, here's our game plan. We'll start with our body's building blocks, take a quick trip back in time to see how the cell was discovered, then see how you go from a single cell to a full human body, and how all those cells talk to each other. And finally, we'll get into the therapist's cellular toolkit, the stuff you'll actually use. All right, let's jump right into our first section. We need to understand the body's fundamental building block because everything, and I mean everything we do in neurotherapy, begins right here with the cell.
So, what exactly is a cell? Well, think of it as the smallest, most basic piece of life that can actually work on its own. It's like a tiny, self-sufficient powerhouse, a microscopic engine that's running every single process that keeps us alive. Pretty amazing, right?
No, Guruji had this incredible analogy for it. He said, just as bricks build a house, cells build the body. But he added a crucial part. A house is more than just bricks. It needs cement, rods, and more to become a home. That's so powerful. It tells us that cells aren't just stacked together. They're organized and connected to form a complex, living structure.
So think about this. Every single time you eat, you're not just filling your stomach. You are literally feeding the 100 trillion cells that make you, well, you. Every vitamin, every protein, every mineral is on a special delivery mission to these tiny little units to give them energy and keep you going.
And this brings us right back to that question we started with. The diabetic patient is hungry because even with all that glucose in the blood, it can't get through the cell's front door. The body is swimming in fuel, but the cells themselves are literally starving. See? The problem isn't a lack of food, it's a delivery failure at the cellular level. Now, our understanding of this tiny world, it didn't just appear overnight. So let's take a quick look back at the history, at how this incredible knowledge was pieced together over centuries by some really brilliant and curious minds.
It all kicked off back in 1665. A guy named Robert Hooke looked at a piece of cork under a microscope and saw what he called cells. They looked like little rooms. A few years later, Leeuwenhoek discovered this whole new world of single-celled organisms. Fast forward to 1839, and Theodore Schwann proposes that all animals are made of cells, a huge breakthrough. And then in the 1860s, Louis Pasteur confirmed that cells only come from other cells. Each discovery was like laying another brick in the foundation of modern biology.
Okay, so we've got trillions of these tiny building blocks, but how in the world do they organize themselves into something as incredibly complex as a human being? Let's take a look at the hierarchy of how it all fits together.
It really is like a pyramid of life. At the very bottom, you have the individual cells. These cells group together to form tissues. Then, different tissues combine to create organs, like the liver or the heart. Those organs work together in systems, like the digestive system. And finally, all of those systems together create the complete organism, us. And this is so important. It shows us why a problem at the very base, at the cellular level, can shake the entire structure.
You know, nature is just an amazing engineer. It didn't just create one type of cell, it created specialized cells for specialized jobs. For instance, you've got these long, powerful skeletal muscle cells for all your movements. Then you have smooth muscle cells, which are shaped differently, and they handle all the involuntary stuff, like digestion. And then there are the cardiac muscle cells in the heart, totally unique, designed to pump nonstop for an entire lifetime. Understanding this is key because our treatments have to be targeted to the specific type of cell and tissue we're working with. Okay, so you've got trillions of cells, all doing their own specialized thing. How do they coordinate? They have to work as a team, and to do that, they have to communicate. The body has two incredibly sophisticated systems just for this.
The office analogy here is just perfect. Think about a huge company. For anything to get done, you need instant communication, right? Like phone calls for urgent stuff, but you also need company-wide memos for bigger announcements. The body's communication network works in a very similar way.
So here are the body's two main communication systems. On one hand, you have the nervous system. This is like your telephone network. It sends lightning-fast electrical signals for immediate action. Think pulling your hand away from a hot stove.
On the other hand, you have the endocrine system. This is more like the office courier service. It uses chemical messengers called hormones that travel through the blood. It's a bit slower, but it's perfect for more widespread, sustained messages.
And this right here brings us to the absolute core of our practice in neurotherapy. To really truly heal the body, we have to understand what's going on inside the cell. What's it made of? And more importantly, how can we, as therapists, influence that internal environment?
So let's take a peek inside. A cell is mostly water. We're talking 70 to 80%. Now, this isn't just filler. Water is the solvent. It's the medium where all the life-giving chemical reactions happen. And floating around in that water are all the other essential bits: proteins, fats, carbs, and, this is crucial, electrolytes.
If water is the stage, then electrolytes are the spark. These are essential minerals that carry an electric charge, and they are responsible for basically everything: every nerve impulse, every muscle contraction, and for keeping that delicate internal balance, what we call homeostasis, in check. Let's just take sodium as an example. Its normal range in our blood is incredibly tight, between 135 and 145. Now, if that number just creeps up a little bit, a tiny hairline deviation, it can lead to major problems like high blood pressure and fluid retention. It just goes to show you, a tiny change at the chemical level can create a massive problem for the whole system. And this isn't some minor detail. As Guruji always said, many chronic diseases are linked to the disturbance of these very electrolytes. And that's exactly why understanding a patient's electrolyte balance is such a powerful tool for us, both for diagnosis and for treatment. Look, a lab report, it's just one piece of the puzzle. An effective diagnosis means we have to do more than just read a report. It's about combining everything, listening to the patient's story, understanding their symptoms, using our own diagnostic tools like checking pain points, and then putting all of that together with the reports to see the whole person. We treat the patient, not just the numbers on a piece of paper. We've covered a huge amount of ground today, but really grasping the central role of the cell, that is your first giant leap toward mastering the science and the art of neurotherapy. This foundation is going to serve you in everything you do from this point on. If you, or maybe someone you know, could benefit from neurotherapy, please don't hesitate to reach out for a consultation. You can contact Santulan Holistic Solutions, founded by Vishal Gupta, at 813-06-08275, or you can check out the website. And of course, to continue your learning journey, please subscribe to the Santulan Holistic Solutions YouTube channel. So let's end with a final thought to carry with you. Now that you truly understand that every single part of you, every tissue, every organ, is built from these individual living cells, how does that fundamentally change the way you think about disease and the potential for healing? Really ponder on that. Thank you so much for your attention.